main character, he has been reincarnated, reborn, jumped to different stories as the low-key background villain. Doesn't get really that many lines. He just ends up usually dying or suffering, and he just wants to be the big bad. If he's gonna suffer in these lives, he at least wants to be the big bad, right? So when he ends up in the rebirth department, he's like, please, give me your best package when it comes to being a villain. So they gift him the Finn halo, except he doesn't get that. He gets the white halo. And they choose a story for him to jump in as the villain. And he's like, perfect, I will jump into the story, I will jump into this body, this is perfect for me, because the protagonist in this world isn't like the other protagonists who have turned into villains for certain reasons or turned into yanderes. He is still the protagonist. He is still the perfect, kind, caring protagonist in his story. And so the main character's like, this is perfect for me, and he jumps into the story. So the main character, he gets into the body of someone who's already been arrested and imprisoned for trying to attempt to murder the Melid and take some of the Melid's follow disciples with them. And he was stopped by the Melid, arrested, and imprisoned. And that's where the main character is. And because the main character jumped into the body of the original host before the original host was able to escape, and the original host's spirit has been sent somewhere else to a different story, so here he is in the inability to escape. So he plans, if the Melid visits him, to get the Melid to basically free him, kind of just get him exiled without his convention being yanked from him. That is what he wants, and then he can do his old villain thing. Now the main character and the Melid, they're technically part of the same sack, so it's a humongous sack with several peaks. So basically like the sack the main character from Scum Saving System is from, it is literally the same like that, where there are several different peaks and elders are over this peak, but they're all in one humongous sack. And that is what the main character is part of the same sack as the Melid, but he's part of a different department, peak. He's under a different teacher, which his teacher is the sage, the top tier sage. He's the highest level converter in the world. He has gone off. He only had 5 disciples. The main character, his first martial brother, his martial sister, his second martial brother, and his third martial brother. The main character's martial siblings, they come to see him, and his martial sister is the one we really get to see the visit of. And because of his white halo, it afflicts her. It causes her to weaken her heart to him, melt her heart to him. She becomes very suspicious about the situation that got him put in prison. She's like, oh, there must have been more going on. There must have been more. Because again, his halo weakens people's hearts or melts their hearts to him. He kind of just comes off very tsundere-like. In their eyes, he's hard on the outside, but on the inside, he's very soft and kind-hearted and weak and delicate, needs to be protected. Almost everyone gets affected the literal same way when it comes to him. So the Melid, he also visits the main character because he wants to know why the original host tried attacking him. And again, he doesn't know that the main character took the place of the original host. He just wants to know why he was attacked, because he doesn't think him and the main character had any sort of relationship that would have led to something like this. Yes, they went to academy together and they were in the same classes together, but they didn't really have a relationship, so he doesn't understand why the main character would do this to him. The main character, he thought this was going to go some sort of way that he could twist and turn into manipulating the Melid to doing his bidding and speaking for him in trial, except it's not going that way. And so the system tells him, hey, I can help you. I got 3 things, offer, test run thingies that I can use to help you. You can use one of them right now. And the main character's like, yeah, use it right now. I need your help. And it turns the main character into the heartbroken, used, thrown away darling that is just super heartbroken, wrenching of feelings, and just sad and depressed. You know what I'm talking about. And the Melid is affected by this. He's full on affected. The main character being controlled by the system brings up that they used to be really close in the academy, or he thought they were really close in the academy, that the Melid promised him that one day if he wanted to leave or the male lead wanted to leave, that he would take the male lead with him, or if the male lead wanted to leave, the male lead would take him with them, and they go live out together, being husband and wife, raising a family together. And the male lead just seems to completely forgot about the memory, that he had no plans of harming the male lead, that what he was creating wasn't a killing thing, it was a transportation thing, and something had gone wrong. Someone else that he had met had taught him this thing, and he just wanted the male lead to be with him once more, basically acting like a heartbroken, obsessive ex-lover that has been used and thrown away. And the male lead at first is really confused by this, and like I said, he's affected by it, and then he gets a memory of back in the academy where he got really drunk, because again, the main character passed him and beat him in exams and was the top student again, even though the main character's 4 years his junior. He got very drunk, very upset, and he thought he had asked a female classmate of his, because later that next day someone slapped him, a female classmate slapped him, so he assumed the person he was speaking to was that female classmate, when in actuality it was the original host that he had coaxed and promised to be with and take as his wife. And he's horrified by this and runs off, and the main character is like, well, I don't know what happened, because the main character really has no memories of what happened between him and the male lead while it was being controlled by the system. So he thinks he has something over the male lead, but he doesn't know what it is. The main character, his hair has turned white, and everyone assumes when he's taken out of his prison cell and taken out of the prison, and the guards taking him and the male lead showing up to also help them take the main character to the trial, and his hood comes off because he was wearing a hood, and everyone sees that he has white hair, and they're like, oh god, he had a cool convention, but how did that happen? Because his convention had been sealed. How did this happen? And then when everybody else sees the main character, they also start having those thoughts, like there's something wrong. And later when a doctor's brought to them, they couldn't find any signs of a condition on the main character. Something else has caused his hair to go white, which was the white halo thing. It had turned his hair white because it was just created, like it's just a prototype. And when the main character took it instead of Fiend Halo, he's working with a prototype instead of an actual official product. Because the male lead blames himself for the main character becoming obsessive with him, even attempting to try kidnapping him and being tricked by a demonic converter, the male lead wants to protect the main character. So he basically tells everybody that if somebody has to be punished, it has to be him. And his sushi tries stopping this, but there's nothing he can do. All he can do is basically send most of everybody else so he can hear why his student's claiming that he should be the one punished. And the male lead states he did something horrible to the main character. It wasn't the whole telling the main character, hey, let's run off with each other, let's be husband and wife and raise a family together. No, he states that he tried to force himself onto the main character, and that's why the main character years later came to try to murder him. And everyone is horrified by this, but because the male lead is known for not lying, they believe him, and the main character's Marshall siblings are furious. Like his older Marshall brother, his first Marshall brother, literally gets his sword out. And his sword is well known to being a powerful one because it was their Shushi's sword. Like this man wanted to have hands with the male lead, and the male lead Shushi had to literally stop him. And they're like, hey, this will ruin the main character's reputation. Is it found out? It wouldn't just ruin the male lead. So they basically make it quiet that something else had happened, and both of them are basically house arrested, and that is literally it.